Hi there, I'm Janet DeMaria, inventor of the amazing Skadoosie garment for babies. Let me tell you, those first few months as a parent can be really tough. I mean, who knew you'd have to change like 25 diapers in a single day? It's no wonder that many parents end up just putting a diaper on their little ones without bothering with cloths. Depending on the season, anyway. That's why I focused my efforts on creating the Skadoosie specifically for newborns up to 6 months old. Let me tell you, it's a game changer. And get this, if you're not satisfied with it, no worries. You can keep it and we'll happily refund your money. I really want to make sure parents have the best experience possible with my product right out of the gate. One of my goals was to make it affordable for as many parents as possible so they could try out the Skadoosie and see the difference it makes in their lives. When it comes to the materials I used in the Skadoosie, I made sure to prioritize the well-being of your baby. It's made of 100% organic materials, so you can feel good about what you're putting on your baby's precious skin. No need to worry about allergic reactions or rashes caused by harsh chemicals or metals. That's the last thing any parent wants. And here's something close to my heart. 10% of the profits from each Skadoosie sold goes toward fighting mesothelioma. You see, on April 1st, 15 years ago, my late husband was diagnosed with mesothelioma. Coincidentally, it was during Mesothelioma Awareness Week. What are the odds? Well, as you can imagine, it was a life-changing moment for my family, and ever since, that event has been the driving force behind my business and my goals. That's the moment everything changed. So there you have it. My passion and dedication poured into every Skadoosie. I truly believe it's a garment that will make your parenting journey a little easier and more enjoyable. Now here's my story, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell it.
Janet DeMaria, interior designer turned entrepreneur, noticed while changing a diaper one day that the basic romper design had not evolved at all in the 20 years since she'd last encountered one. She was stunned.
The basic onesie design had stayed the same. It was identical to the ones I'd used when raising my own children. I knew there was room for improvement though, and I couldn't believe that nobody had done it sooner. I thought, wait a minute, am I missing something here?
Janet DeMaria soon felt compelled to reimagine the onesie for modern times. This would prove to be challenging in ways Janet had never thought possible.
I began babysitting around that time because I was yearning for something new that would be fulfilling. How can you be sad around a baby? Well, one of my first clients was 4-month-old Alice, who was just learning how to walk. She also wore the classic onesies. Little Alice coincidentally shared my own mother's name. Looking back, it must have been fate all along.
But fate wasn't the only force at play, for it was at that point that Janet DeMaria's designer instincts kicked in, and she got to work. Janet began making prototypes for a new one-piece suit that would be simple for busy mothers and fathers to change. Once satisfied with her design, she fitted Alice into the suit.
I just put it on Alice's chest and flipped up the flap as quickly as I could, and she skedaddled off.
It was little Alice's quick waddle that inspired the name of Janet's groundbreaking new creation, the Skadoosie. In case you're wondering, the product's name is a clever fusion of the words skedaddle and onesie. Without wasting time, Janet got her new creation patented and trademarked. Her innovative product earned her a number of accolades and awards, such as Gold Distinction at the Mom's Choice Awards, the National Parenting Seal of Approval,
Top 100 Inventor by the United Inventors Association,
2018 Editor's Pick Parents Magazine, and a Lifetime Achievement Award from Power.
I want the Skadoosie to gain more recognition so that it can help caregivers and babies everywhere. That has always been my vision for this product. It is simple, effective, and eco-friendly.
The Skadoosie uses baby soft Velcro instead of snaps, making it less complicated for older adults and arthritis sufferers to fasten and unfasten. Young siblings can even lend a helping hand to their parents in caring for the little ones. That's how simple it is. Not only is the Skadoosie more practical than any of the alternatives out there, it's also made of 100% organic cotton to keep babies safe from the nasty, harmful substances found in synthetic fibers.
We're totally organic and made in the USA. Skadoosie is handmade, not machine-made. Most products these days use foreign fabrics that have chemicals in them, not us.
The current onesie design is made to go right over a baby's head, which babies do not like. Imagine how constricting that process is for a newborn. With the Skadoosie, this is not an issue because it's made for babies up to 6 months old. While attending trade shows, Janet quickly discovered that fathers were often reluctant to help change diapers for fear that they would hurt their babies. The Skadoosie goes a long way to eliminating that fear, as well as the dreaded smell test, using rear diaper check slots.
I want the Skadoosie to be a household name, and I'll stop at nothing to make that happen. People say I'm resilient and I do not give up easily, and they're right about that. The pandemic threw my company a few curveballs, just like it did for so many small businesses, but we've managed and overcome each and every challenge in our quest to take Skadoosie to the next level.
Going up against a larger-than-life industry was never the plan for Janet DiMaria, but that's precisely where she found herself anyway. Janet feels that she's at a point where she has done as much as she can on her own, and now she's looking for investors and spokespeople to step in. For Janet and a growing number of others, Skadoosie is the onesie of the future.
The old style is antiquated, and in my experience, most people don't like the old design, so brand visibility is key for me. So often in life, people keep doing things the old way because they just don't know that there is a better one.
Janet was always a visionary growing up, and her creativity led her to attend fashion merchandising school. She modeled as a teenager, but knew it was not sustainable in the long run. In letting go of modeling, she discovered that her love for the inner workings of the fashion industry ran much deeper than she had initially realized.
I love fashion. I'm a fashionista. I have clothes in every closet in my house, and I'll never wear the same thing twice when I'm on a job.
Through a connection, Janet and her friend landed jobs at a department store during one fateful trip to New York. While school only taught her the basics of her field, it was this new work experience that taught Janet the importance of networking.
From the earliest days, I always felt that I had a greater purpose that I had not yet found. I was going to create something for the world, and I had no idea what it was. I got disillusioned with college, and when we were offered these department manager jobs, I was like, what am I doing in college? Like they say, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Not long after that time, Janet got married and had a son. During the first 6 months, she recognized how hectic it was to raise an infant. The constant diaper changes and clothing snaps frustrated Janet, and her husband didn't even bother snapping the onesie at all. It's safe to say that a lot of dads can probably relate.
Doing just about anything for yourself is challenging when you're a new mom. I used to get my neighbor to watch my son just so I could take a shower, and sometimes I'd even bring the whole car seat in the bathroom with him in it. If you're a new mom, you know what I mean. Something as simple as a shower becomes a real problem. You have to constantly keep an eye on kids.
Janet was later hired at Lazy Boy as a designer, where she told the managers that her son was the most important thing in her life and she would quit on the spot if he needed her. And that is exactly what she ended up doing. As is the case with a lot of fathers, Janet's husband wasn't the best babysitter and got distracted easily, which led her to resign from her important position at Lazy Boy. Instead, she focused on raising her son and did not work at all during that time. She cared for him and became very involved in his schooling, sports, and extracurriculars. Her husband went to work while she stayed at home. Finally, there was a new life balance that was working for everyone. And then, in a tragic turn of events, Janet and her husband got some bad news about his health. A diagnosis that would forever change their family and future.
It was the most devastating thing I'd ever been through, but I kept telling myself that every cloud has a silver lining. But I won't lie. When you lose your husband to mesothelioma, that silver lining takes a lot longer to recognize, and at times it seemed pretty hopeless.
It took this tragic turn of events to get Janet DiMaria to where she is today. Suddenly, all the pieces fell into place, and Janet's dream of creating something important that people would buy began to shimmer on the horizon. But it would still be out of reach for many more years as Janet navigated the ups and downs of life. But eventually, through sheer determination and tenacity, Janet finally made it happen, and the Skadoosie was born.
I took a long, hard road to arrive at this point. I think most people would have given up many times along the way, but I made it happen, and now I know in my heart that Skadoosie is ready for the next phase. Wherever there's a baby, there should be a Skadoosie.
When one weathers as many storms as Janet has, there is nothing to stop that person from going the full distance. And that's exactly what she's going to make her invention, a resounding smash success. But Janet DiMaria is also about giving back. With every purchase, Janet aims to give one underprivileged mom a free Skadoosie, similar to the famous Tom's Shoes business model. Until then, her company will continue to give back to the community in any way they can. 10% of all current Skadoosie profits go to the Mesothelioma Research Foundation, which works to cure and treat its namesake disease. Mesothelioma is an aggressive and deadly cancer that affects the tissue that lines the lungs, stomach, heart, and other organs. It is mainly found in patients with prolonged exposure to asbestos, which accounts for more than 80% of cases. Asbestos, a known carcinogen, is a mineral frequently used in manufacturing and construction.
My husband was a contract painter exposed to asbestos during jobs such as removing popcorn ceilings. He passed within 3 months of receiving his mesothelioma diagnosis. Ironically, we received his diagnosis during Mesothelioma Awareness Week. At first, I viewed that fact as though it were a cruel joke, a bitter irony, but now I see it as fate intervening once again to help shape my journey. I cannot overstate this. Be careful and be aware of mesothelioma. It is a much more serious disease than people realize. Even though the word cancer doesn't appear in the name of the disease, that's exactly what it is. A lot of construction workers leave their drinks out while working. Things trickle down into it. Now people are required to wear hazmat suits, but back then they didn't even use masks. My son and I have to take x-rays periodically because we were frequently exposed to my husband's work clothes. He would unknowingly bring the asbestos home due to how easily it transferred between surfaces.
Janet did not receive workers' compensation for her family until 8 years after his passing.
I encourage everyone to donate to foundations that fund research and treatment options for patients with mesothelioma. I will always support the cause with my business and through my advocacy.
For Janet DiMaria's Skadoosie, the future is looking bright. With the pandemic out of the way and a winning product on her hands, Janet is ready to take things to the next level. This means securing spokespeople and investors. With a golden opportunity like this, Janet anticipates continued and increased interest from prospective partners. She urges all interested parties to reach out through her website, www.skadoosie.com, and learn more about this brilliant, useful, and affordable new product. No less than Jack Canfield, co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, expressed his liking of the Skadoosie at a seminar both he and Janet were attending. This could certainly be interpreted as a glowing endorsement. Mr. Canfield shared with her that his book had gotten turned down like 744 times before it was actually published. This little detail always stuck with Janet and helped keep her strong and focused even during the hardest times. Janet's own advice to budding entrepreneurs is to be financially aware, but also to persevere through obstacles, just like Janet herself has always done.
It's a hard path. You need to have a lot of self-confidence, self-esteem, knowing and believing in your product. That's the number one thing. Even Mark Cuban said that on Shark Tank. You've got to believe in your product, even if people poo-poo it. You just can't give up. People say, live for your dream, right? No regrets here. Not even one.